My name is Romero Mirage, and I'm up here with Al as well.
Hello, family. Hello, family.
And so, the Jockey Experience now. The Jockey Experience is bridging the multi-billion-dollar sport of horse racing with Web3 through the tech that NFTs provide. Myself, Romero Mirage, I am a 22-year-old jockey currently based at Gulfstream Mirage, and I really ship around wherever my agent sends me to go ride around the country. So our NFT will be having a tons of utilities and incentives. We'll be having airdrops, giveaways, access to TGE IRL events. We're gonna have original artwork that we've already revealed a few of them. We're gonna have a gamified storyline, or as people also know it as a lore. We're gonna have options to participate in charity and tons of educational opportunities. So holders will also have a chance to gain access to featured races around the world like the Kentucky Derby, Breeders' Cup, the Pegasus World Cup, and much more. Our storyline will be very dynamic and unique because it's actually gamified. Everybody nowadays, they have a little bit of a storyline, like they throw a little bit of a story together and that's about it. But our storyline is different, right? We have a total collection that will have 5,000 NFTs. We have the Fantastic Five jockeys: the Duke jockey, the Duchess jockey, the Legion jockey, the Angelic jockey, and the Cyborg jockey. Each jockey will have a sub community of 1,000 NFTs. In each sub community, the holders will be able to participate in different challenges and events to help write the story of who wins the World Derby. And obviously, the holders of the winning jockey will receive perks. With that being said, right, we're gonna lay out a base of each jockey, like a little storyline that we've revealed for the Duke, the Duchess, like their background, how they came about, where they came from. But the World Derby is gonna be a race consists of all five jockeys for who is the best jockey, right? But our community, the sub communities, will take parts in different challenges to really get behind the jockey that they own or their favorite jockey to see who wins the World Derby. So that's what we mean by it's very gamified, where our community will be able to push and see who wins the World Derby. Also, we'll be having the charity, right? 5% will be going to a charity wallet, which we will be donating to multiple charities. The first charity that we'll be donating is the PDJF, which is a Permanent Disabled Jockey Fund, right? And that had a direct impact on me because when I was 19 years old, I was only riding races for 8 months, and I actually started off 2019, the leading apprentice in the country, and I got hurt in a race at the end of January in 2019 where I broke five vertebrae, I broke my ribs, I had a punctured lung and I had a severe concussion, right? So I was out for a year. And the difference between a jockey and most athletes is that I'm not on a contract, right? So the moment we fall and we stop riding, we stop getting paid. So the PDJF, what they do for jockeys when they get hurt, they provide them for the funds for the basic needs. So that's why I definitely want to give back to the PDJF. Also, another charity that we're going to be working with is the Thoroughbred Aftercare Alliance, right? And what they do is that they ensure that the horses after their racing career, they have a nice retirement and that they're retired safe and sound because in the end of the day, without the horses, we won't have horse racing. And these horses have given me a life at such a young age that I probably couldn't even dream of. Also, what we're going to be donating to is like communities that I grew up in, like high schools and sports teams, right? Because what we're going to be doing, like, for example, my high school soccer team that I used to play on, we didn't have the greatest funding, so we're going to be donating to them, but in return we're going to be able to go into the schools and teach the younger generation about Web3 and about horse racing, so we show them what horse racing really is about, right? And the basis of our project, right, is to really debunk these misconceptions of horse racing and Web3, right? So people know about horse racing, like people in Web3, they know of horse racing, but they don't know what goes into horse racing. And people, I could speak for this, where people in horse racing have no idea about Web3, right? When they hear of Web3, when they hear of NFTs and crypto, they say, oh, it's a scam, it's this and it's that, which is completely false when you do your due diligence. And the same thing about horse racing. Some people might say it's abusive, but really, you'll have your bad apples. Like in every industry, you'll have your bad apples. But for me, horse racing is the greatest sport, right? An example is that people say that the crop is abusive, but really, the crop is modified to where the crop doesn't hurt the horses at all, and you can compare the crop to a pool noodle to which it doesn't hurt the horses, right? So the overall goal of the project will give both Web3 and horse racing the positive and great platform it deserves, and by doing so, we'll be giving a whole bunch of utilities, IRL events, and we'll be having a dope charity as well.
Yeah, and to kind of piggyback off of Romero, he kind of touched on a little bit of everything. But we are driven by seven key components. Naturally, being that bridge between the sport of horse racing and Web three, kind of like Romero said, you got two worlds that are completely different, but similar in the fact that there's a lot of misconceptions, just for the fact that people aren't educated, right? So what this allows us to do is one, it allows us to be able to utilize the technology of NFTs to be able to bring a new light into the sport, to really show that, hey, this is a beautiful sport. If you actually look on our website, the first video that comes up is we shot a video one day. Romero invited me to come out to the track uh, one morning about 4 or 5 in the morning. Because you go to the track, you see all the glitz and glamour, but it's nothing like actually seeing what goes into it, right? So about 4 or 5 in the morning, this is every day where they are massaging the horses, they are washing them, they're walking them, they're feeding on them, and that really helped change my perspective just on horse racing as a whole. And for me, it was like, hey, the world needs to see this. Right. So once we work to naturally create a platform and a dynamic, it is able to change the narrative. But what this also do for horse racing, it allows us to be able to, not horse racing, but for Web3, to bring some of true value to with true utility. Right. The jockey experience is built on a real sport. This is our co-founder is an actual jockey. This you can see him race Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. This isn't something that we just made up just to throw some art and say, hey, let's hype it up and let's try to sell this thing. No, this is something that's built on a sport that's been around for hundreds of years and will be for hundreds of years to come, right? And what this allows us to do is to be able to bring an even new dynamic into the Web3 space, right? Horse racing is a multi-$100 billion sport, right, annually. So imagine being able to grasp some of that rather than people going and waging on some horses. Imagine being able to show them a new light or of something of new value within NFTs. Whoever comes and just buy one NFT. So not only for our project, we'll be able to bring in new investors of that 96% of the people that have no clue what Web3 is and NFTs into the space, right? And actually being able to educate. The biggest thing is just education, right? We're in this space during the bear market. I'm pretty sure we have conversations with family and friends, and they look at us crazy when we got our NFT PFPs. A lot of that comes just for the fact that people aren't educated, right? So we have things like the TJE Academy, TJE Radio, things of this nature. Our social media posts, pin one to the top of what does an off day look like for a professional jockey. When you actually see that video, you realize, hey, this is actually an athlete. This guy is actually sacrificing. He has to make weight at 110, 112 pounds. Like, it's a lot to actually go into it compared to what people are, knowledgeable on, right? Being able to provide that true IRL utility. Naturally, we'll be able to have tons of events. Our holders will have chances to be able to come to, major races such as the Kentucky Derby and Preakness and Breeders' Cup. But once again, this is a project that's built on a real world sport, right? So for the years to come, long as we do what we're supposed to be doing and stay true to our, organically building and providing for our holders, we'll have utilities that you'll be able to pass on to your kids, right? Naturally giving back, because with anything we do, when you're blessed, you're supposed to give back and pay it forward. So whether it's knowledge, anything of that nature. So for us, 5% of all profit will be going to charity. Our community will have a chance to be able to vote on certain charities or certain events, in which the money will go, be able to track a public, naturally all wallets are public, but we'll have a specific wallet that'll be our charity wallet that, our holders be able to track all transactions and things to that nature. All right, being able to build a diverse community. So often we see now that projects tailor only towards Web3. Everything is just straight Twitter, straight PFPs, right? But what about the other 96% of people that aren't into the ecosystem? So for us, whether it's our marketing, the way we look to build our community. So rather than just having everything on Twitter, if you have the social, we got it. If it's TikTok, if it's YouTube, if it's Instagram, whatever, right? We push to not only to be that bridge, right? So not only just between the sports, but between Web 2 and IRL and Web 3. Naturally, our lore, which is one of my favorite and most exciting part, in which we're creating an exciting, unique gamified lore with our community that will sync the NFT art and the traits, right? So that you'll be able to have certain NFTs that will actually be a part of our lore and storyline. And for us, we feel that no matter where you are or who you are, you'll be able to be a part of the project, right? We have holders. I mean, we have community members that's in the Philippines, that's in Nigeria. They might not be able to make it to our IRL event, or might not care too much about the charity. Who knows? But you'll be able to partake in our lore, and like Romero said, kind of breaking that down, 5 jockeys. It'd be 1,000 of each, kind of like I don't know if we have any Harry Potter fans. How J.K. Rowling had the Slytherin, Gryffindor, and Ravenclaw, and in Hufflepuff. And what that did, it kind of was able to build an attachment with her, her fans that took that went beyond just the books and the writing. I mean, you have people with tattoos and parties and all types of things. So being able to build a whole nother attachment with our NFTs, what we're looking to do with our lore, we feel that will be able to take us into other industries, whether that's movies or animations or comic books, things of that nature. And then naturally, one of the cornerstones of TJE is the dedication to ensuring our holders' longevity. Right, being able to build a project with a long-term viewpoint, which is something we don't see often in the space. Everything now just for a money grab, pumps and dumps. But being able to build something with true value for our holders, our family, as we like to call them, right? Being able to provide like a membership-like investment more than just some art. Our team is fully committed to executing our roadmap, being able to build organically, getting in spaces like this, collabing, networking, rather than just paying some influencers and just pumping up some things, right? So really getting out here and grinding, and being able to provide a long list of utilities that would be useful, for our holders, no matter who and where you are. We kind of ramble, but that's just a bit about the jockey experience.